Yeah. So part of entering data in Excel also involves maybe autofilling, and you'll see where that comes in. So if I write 1, right, and I want to be writing ones up to maybe number 41. So I'll not maybe have to write 1, click enter, right? I mean, that one is wasting time. So there is a filling that you can do, right? Yeah. So for example, here I can write 1, and then if you check on the corner of your cell here, you can see there's that square box, right? Are you able to see a square box on your Excel? If you're able to see that, thumbs up. A square box at the corner of the rectangle. Yeah, all of us can see. If you're not seeing it, yeah. So there's that. So can you try dragging it? So just place your cursor on the corner. There's this corner here, right? Yeah, Aiga, are you able to see the? uh So if you click on, maybe you write 1 and then click. Are you seeing this square box down here, this corner? Are you able to see that? Aiga, your microphone is on mute. That is maajabu. And even without even clicking inside that one, if you click any box, but can you try to hover around your cursor so that you move it to the corner, to the right corner, the right lower corner, uh, so that you see what? A cross, right? Or an addition sign. Good. Yeah. So if you hover around, you'll see maybe a plus sign coming in. So if you try to drag that, can you try dragging it to wherever it is you wanna go? Let's even drag it up to here. So if you drag, you're seeing that you are filling it using ones, right? So what Excel is doing, um, it's noticing a certain pattern, but the pattern here is we are only filling the cells with 1, right? Yeah, let me do a Control Z and go back. So we have 1 there. We have tried to fill it with 1, then write 2. So 1, 2. So if I highlight those 2 cells, you don't highlight 1, highlight those 2 cells. If I highlight 2 and then now drag from the bottom, right, and maybe go down, let me go up to this place. So it realizes that we are increasing by 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, basically. So that you don't have to type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? That one is going to, uh, so notice something, maybe I do 1 and then do 3 and maybe go to 5, and then I highlight all of them. When I highlight all of them and then drag from the bottom, right? Drag here at the bottom up to this point. It understands that we are increasing by 2. So 1, 3, 5, next should be 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17. I mean, it is following a certain pattern. Yeah. Are you able to do that? Faiza, anybody feeling lost? Joel, Beverly? Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the simple things that we did not cover yesterday. It's part of just you knowing how to quickly fill your data. quickly fill your data. So think about, even if we do here 10, and then the next one we do 19, right? And then maybe drag it this way, and then yeah, Vintain Potishay, I'm seeing your thumbs down. So you're not able to see. Um, yeah, can you just hover your cursor to the corner, kabisa? You first click on maybe a certain cell and then hover to the corner. Are you able to see it? Okay. Yeah. So we started with 1, 10, 19. So the difference here is, uh, so here the difference is 1 to 10 is 9, 10 to 19 is 8, then 9, then 8, right? Should it be that way? Or 1 to 10, the difference is 9, 10 to 19, oh, difference is 9 similarly. Sorry. Yeah. So we are moving with a difference of 9999999, right? So Excel can read a certain pattern that you are having. Yeah. How about if we control Z? How about if we fill it with texts? So for example, I write here male. Let's try if it's working. So male, and then you see there is males there, right? If you add your female, and then add here prefer not to say. Prefer not to say. Yeah. If you drag this and then bring it down, it it should have read the pattern. So it knows that we are doing a 333. Yeah. So male, female prefer not to say. Then next, male, female prefer not to say. So those are some of the few of the um, some of the simple things that you can do. Another thing that we did not do is, sometimes you have a huge set of information. So, for example, you have from number one up to number even 90, right? And you want to find a specific person, right? There's a specific person that you want to find his or her information. Yeah. So you going one by one, looking for maybe a certain respondent called Job, or maybe Maxwell, or maybe you have information about uh, branches of a certain company. Yeah. So, for example, think of a company like Ketias. Yeah, Ketias is a supermarket, and some sort of a retail stores in Kenya, or even Magunas, right? Magunas, you'll find one maybe in Wendani, you'll go and find one on your way to Muranga, you'll find one on your way. I mean, it's a chain of businesses that has headquarters, or maybe branches in several towns. So think of it that you have so many stations, or maybe Shell petrol stations. Yeah, there are so many in the country, and you want a specific one, maybe one located in Mombasa. You know the name, but you can't really go one by one looking at it inside your data set. So there is this functionality of find and select that can enable you to quickly look at it's either the branch that you want, or maybe the name that you want, or the respondent that you want, right? So the shortcut for that is just Control plus F. Yeah, Control plus F. So what do I want to find? Suppose I want to find a person whose name is Hezron, right? Within our data set, I believe we have Hezron. Yeah. So you can click on find next, and then you can see that it's taking us to the information here, Hezron. So think of it that you have thousands of information, and there's a specific one. You know very well that I'm interested in a certain entry, right? Yeah. And maybe you wanted to replace it. So find what? Hezron. I want to replace it with uh, somebody like Jackton. Yeah, maybe it was a wrong entry. It was not supposed to be Hezron, but it's supposed to be Jackton, right? So instead of you going taking 20 minutes looking for one thing, you can do a find here. So find and select. So maybe we what we want to find is Hezron. We want to replace it with Jackton, and then you just click replace. If you check here, Hezron has been replaced by Jackton, right? So similar thing, maybe I want to find counties called so control F. I want to find maybe I don't want to replace anything this time around. So this replace will just remain that way. So I want to find Machakos. So if I say find all, you can see that I have three entries with the Machakos, right? And it is even telling me the cell reference. E2, E2 there's Machakos. Then I go to maybe E4, and then E5 also has Machakos, right? That is if I click find all. But if I click, for example, so if I wrote maybe Nairobi, then I say find next. So it starts with Nairobi down there. If I click find next, it goes to the next one. Find next, it goes to the next one. I mean, Pole Pole finds the next one. But how about if you have a wrong name that you're trying to find? Maybe instead of writing Nairobi or Mombasa, I wrote it as Mombasa, right? So find next. It tells you that we couldn't find what you are looking for. Click options for more ways to search. This functionality is also available in Word document. You can also try to look at it in Word when you're looking for a certain word within the article that you're writing. So that is something else. Yeah, that's that. And another thing is a format painter. Yeah, we want to maybe, so for example, here is written mail. Yeah, and I don't want to go through every mails, maybe trying to change it to this color, right? I can even just copy this format that has been used here and maybe use it within the the other sections that I also want to appear the same way mail has appeared there. So if I click on mail and go to format, so format painter, if you click format painter here, it copies the format that has been used here. If I use maybe italics in this case, it is going to be copied. Maybe I used a certain font size. Maybe here I use a certain font type and font size. It will be copied. And you can see there is some sort of a brush. So if I highlight maybe artist there up to maybe machine learning expert, you can see that colors has changed to exactly male, right? So suppose maybe I change this to italics. I change it to italics and write, sorry, um, there is a problem. Yeah. So suppose maybe now you change male to something like italics. You can change it to italics and copy also the format that has been used there and try to change, for example, the artist up to actuary. hmm there are so many tabs that are open that are delaying. Yeah, but have you been able to copy and the formats and paint? Yeah. So for example, here we are using mail and then it's in italics form, and maybe I change the size to maybe 20, right? If I copy that format and then come and paint it with paste it here, ml, you can see that the format has been copied. So we have copied this format that we are using here for mail, and you can now see that everything has changed here for say hi if you are able to do that. Hands up if you are able to do that. Edwin, Kemoi, Sharon, Joel, Paul, Angeline. Anybody finding a challenge? I mean, those are simple things that you'll find really useful when you are working with data in Excel. Right? Yeah. So that takes us to, let me see if there's something else that you've not. I mean, you can handle the rest of the things here, maybe merge and center, wrap and text and things like that. So if you have also been using Word, these are things that you'll find easy to work with. Yeah, so we are supposed to do something called referencing. Before that, we let us learn how to protect a workbook. Anybody who knows how to protect a workbook? Somebody you can just unmute, or we volunteer you. Who wants to unmute? Yeah, how you can protect a workbook. Whatever way you want to tell us how to protect a workbook. Yes, DevOps. Somebody else securing it with the password. Yeah, that is it. You have to secure it with the password. Uh-huh. So anybody? Nobody. So without wasting time, let's also check out. If you go here to file and we stick with info, right? You'll see different options here. You can protect a workbook. Yesterday we talked about the difference between a workbook and a worksheet. What difference did we mention? The difference between a workbook and a worksheet. Let me mention somebody here. Bernadette Ben. We talked about the difference between a worksheet and a workbook. What is the difference? Unmute your microphone. Bernadette, Bernadette is not unmuting. Let's hear from Wema Odhiambo. Yeah, so that's it. I believe that is what Bethel also wanted to say, right? Yeah, that a workbook is just a combination of worksheets. So we may want to protect a workbook. Why? What are some of the reasons as to why you may want to protect your workbook? Now, Bethel, what are some of the reasons for somebody to protect a workbook? Uh-huh. Yeah, for privacy. Go ahead. Yeah, to protect data from manipulation. Uh-huh. Yeah. So basically, it's more of like you don't want people to maybe view certain critical information. Maybe you are having a workbook that is for your company financials, or maybe you're a content creator, what you are earning via YouTube, via maybe TikTok, Facebook, and things like that. You have all that information, and you don't want somebody to mess around with it. Think of it again this way. Sometimes you are storing your information via OneDrive, right? And because of maybe cybersecurity, you think that if somebody hacks into your OneDrive account, they may change information here and there and things like that. So you're putting maybe just a layer of protection so that if somebody accesses that document online, they may have to enter a certain password first for them to to access the content of that workbook, right? And that is something that is really critical nowadays, that people are becoming funny. Yeah. So you can protect maybe current worksheet, you can protect workbook structure, right? Mark as final and things like that. So protect unwanted changes to the structure of worksheets and such like. So you can protect workbook, inspect workbook, you can manage even your workbook, right? So for us, you can browse recent and saved files and such like. That is one area of even protecting that workbook. Another section should be review, where you can protect workbook, right? Keep others from making structural changes to your workbook, such as moving, deleting, or adding sheets, right? That is one yenye you can have. So you can tell people to you may want to protect like the structure and then put like a certain password, right? So that if somebody wants to do any changes, they first have to enter that that password. Sorry. Um, let's do so. Protect current sheet, protect workbook structure, which is the same thing that we had even here there in the review. So you can maybe put a password that. So maybe let me put a password here. So try also putting a password. The only problem is this: if you forget that password, then you are in a hot soup, because for this one, it doesn't have maybe an option for maybe somebody has forgotten a password, and then they can click on something, blah blah, and the password option is option is brought for them. So if you forget your password, uh, mashallah. So you can see, if you lose or forget the password, it cannot be recovered. It is advisable to keep a list of passwords and their corresponding workbook and sheet names in a safe place. So remember that passwords are case sensitive. So whatever it is that I entered for my password should not be forgotten. So I'll put an OK. Let me save and uh, huh. So if somebody wants to, that is close. No, there's something that should be happening here. So we have protected the structure of that workbook. So if somebody wants to make any change to the structure of our workbook, they will be limited. There's a certain type that I'm looking for. I'm not able to see it. Yeah, you can see even for this case, are we able to add a new sheet? You can look at this, right? Because it has been protected, right? The structure has been protected so that we are not even able to change any or maybe add any worksheet here. So you can see maybe referencing. Let me try to delete this and see if it is deleted. Now you can see that this ones has been grayed out. Delete, insert, move, or copy. The only thing you can do is to view the codes, right? View the codes, maybe protect the sheet. I mean, that is how that kind of. Let me see if you can. Yeah, this one we can do any edit, but we cannot change the structure because if you look at the reviews that we did here, um, even before that, let me just unprotect the worksheet so that I redo it. I have unprotected the worksheet. So if maybe you say protect the workbook and then structure only, then put the password that and yeah, yeah. So initially, when I unprotected that worksheet, you could see that the plus button was now there, so that I can add maybe another worksheet and things like that. So here we are not messing with the structure. Are you able to do that? Yeah, I believe that is simple. Yeah, so if you want to unprotect it, you can click on this unprotect. You can click on this protect workbook and then it will bring for you, or maybe the pop-up for unprotect workbook happens. Or you can go back to the file and then you click this and then click on the protect workbook structure, and then you can uh, you can unprotect it. But there's a kind of protection that I want us to look at also. So let me unprotect this and then go back to file, click on this, and then encrypt with password. Encrypt with password. So encrypt with password. So if you click encrypt with password, you can add now the password that you want. So that is my password. I can add it again and click on OK. And then now let me save this and if I click it again, what is it telling me? Yeah, you can see what is happening. Are you able to do that? Or are you able to see that? Yes? Turmeric, Radovan, Betwell. Any question? Yeah, so if you share this information with somebody, they will tell you that data mined is protected. Um, so you would need to enter a password. So my password again. So there are so many ways, or maybe so many examples. Somebody needs to crack for me this office. It's playing around. Um, so if you want to maybe remove that protection again, just go back and maybe click on that. Okay, let me see. Protect workbook, Marcus Final. Um, you can also even grant or restrict access to that edit copy. So grant people access while removing their ability to edit, copy, or print. But in terms of this protection, how do you remove it? It should be that place where we were. I'm looking at why it is not telling us not to encrypt. Um, yeah, anybody with the leads? Because we should be able to remove that protection at any time. So if you lose or forget, it cannot be entered. It cannot be recovered. Yeah, anybody has been able to remove the protection? Yeah, I mean that is we can check on it as we move ahead, so that we don't also stay there. But that is one of the ways in which you can protect your workbook, so that somebody doesn't play around with your information. So the only problem with that is it's more or less like locking the door. Yeah. So the moment somebody is able to open that door, they can do so many things, right? So I believe this one works better, so that somebody is not able to. I mean, that one works. This one also works, protecting your workbook. You can also check on protecting the sheet. So maybe you are only protecting this name's sheet, right? Or even referencing sheet peke yake. That is what we are protecting. So that is when we use either protect this or protect workbook. Then you can share your workbook. Sharing, you can share via email, share via um, WhatsApp and all that. So that is an easy thing. Are we good there? We go to referencing. Yeah, I'm seeing a comment by who is, Edwin Kwemoi. Yeah, Edwin, we had looked at that one. Mostly when you use this to protect your workbook, protect structure, provide the password. Then when you want to remove that functionality, you just come back and click on protect workbook, and then you will be able to unprotect the workbook. But then there is this one for encrypting your workbook with a password. So anytime somebody opens it, there needs to be a password that is being put there. Yeah, so let's go to referencing. Yeah, are we together? So there is we were looking at, maybe there's a certain inventory here, LED lights. I mean, these things are hypothetical. Yeah, these ones are hypothetical. LED lights, gloves, strings, djembe, keyboard, mouse. We have flashlight, tents, belt, backpack. So the quantity that is available at this when this data was being entered, this one is just entered by in some few minutes, some few hours ago. Then um, so item LED lights. So price per unit, you can see the prices for per LED light. That is 98. These are hypothetical. So look at the total price. So how can we calculate the total price for LED light? I want somebody to give me the formula that we'll enter here. Somebody should tell me the formula to enter, so that we multiply, we we get the total amount of or maybe the total price for all these. Is it total price or total sales? Let's call it total sale, and then also total sale. Yeah, total sale. Yeah, so how do we do that multiplication? So when writing formulas in Excel, you start with is equal to, right? So we want to multiply, and here is also where cell referencing is important. Like you have to know the cell name and the cell. So I mean, if for example here we are on E2, you have to know that. If we are using 23 times maybe 65, you know that 23 is in C6. right? And 65 is in D6. So total sales for us here is going to be is equaling to we are multiplying 30 times 98. So 30 is in C5, right? Then times is a shift, then you click on 8. I believe if you look at your number 8, it has a star, a certain star up there. That is the sign for multiplication. And then you multiply by D5. You type D5. If you multiply that, you're able to see. Yeah. So if you feel it, if you see these maybe hashtags, it's just that the size of your cell is too small to accommodate the whole number that we have. Yeah, so that is one of the things. What you've done here is just absolute referencing. Let's have a look at this. Sorry. Control Z. So the moment you write an equal sign and then click on a certain cell, so equal sign will reference, or maybe will tend to use the content of the cell that you clicked. If I click this, you can see the changes here. So whatever it is or wherever it is that you're writing, that's why I was having a problem with this. So clear contents. So the first thing that we did was to multiply just 30 times 98. You may not need to say maybe is equaling to and write maybe D, or just type C5 and click on times, then write again D5. I mean, it may take time. So for you, you can just click is equaling to, and then with your cursor, come and click on this, and then write the times, and then with your cursor, come and click on this cell. If you want to do another multiplication, then write here times, come maybe to another one. I mean, that is how you really, instead of typing might take time. So you click on enter. So the moment you enter and then fill it, Excel is able to read a certain pattern from the first one that you did. Yeah, from the first entry that you did, Excel is able to read a certain pattern. That is again just a relative. Tom, Eric, what you're doing basically is relative referencing of certain cells. Yeah. So think about. So we have two types of referencing. It's either relative or absolute. Then think about maybe an instance where you want to do a 10% increase. So 10% increase, we are multiplying it by, maybe let's put that 10% increase here. Let's have that value here. So 10% increase should basically be 1.1. Yeah. Do you understand what I mean by writing 1.1? Yeah, Paul is okay. Are you okay with 1.1? Thumbs up, thumbs down if you. Alvin is a thumbs down. Devox, thumbs down. Vince, Roslyn, thumbs down. Let's, Sharon Nyamwea, explain to us. We are doing a 10% increase, but I've written 1.1. You can explain to those who are not understanding. I mean, this is just a simple thing. It's not a rocket science. It's like okay, okay, yeah, yeah. So I mean that is the increment that you're doing here. So just 100 plus 10 and then dividing by 100. So with the 10% increase, it's just 1.1. I mean the new value is 1.1, right? Or we are increasing it by 1.1, a proportion of 1.1. So what is our total sale in this case when we do a 10% increase? So look at it this way. So we want to multiply. No, let's talk about let's do this one as total price, and then sorry, total price, and then come here and say total sale, total sale, total sale, right? So the price, I'm a new price. So maybe in this, whoever was recording this, their country has been under taxation and now wants to effect in that taxation. I mean the effects of that taxation. And yeah, so the new price should be the price that we had and then multiply it by 1.1. So here we have is equaling to 98, then multiply by, so times 1.1. Yeah. So do that and then flash fill, right? Drag up to the bottom and tell me what magic you're seeing. And I'm pointing somebody. Let me just pick somebody and they tell us the result. That should be, let's see, Ndoano itashika nani? Uh-huh. ICDL Center, David Kabute. Uh-huh. So what? Ye- So what is your result after at F6? Are you getting 0? NA. So who is getting a 0? Or all of you are getting NA? Are you getting a 0? Yeah, okay. There can be a 0, there can be an NA, but let me see what mine is telling me. So you can see here I'm getting, let's see what we have here. Yeah. Why is it that this one is multiplying? Uh-huh. Okay. Let's think of it this way. That's why I know why it's having some values there. Control Z, and let me put this 1.1 somewhere here. Let me clear contents and put this 1.1 here where it is not going to impact. So this one is equaling to then times, and then if I fill it, yeah, you can see whatever is happening, right? If you click that and go to formulas and show formulas, you're able to see what is happening for our new price here. So what is it doing? The mistake that we are doing, actually it's not a mistake, but I mean we are just trying to understand why in this case we are not getting values past this one. So this is because if you look at this, the next formula that we are having, yeah, or the next in the next box F6, the formula is D6 times 1.3. So D6 times 1.3. So it's multiplying D6 times 1.3 here. So Excel is it's going down. It's ni kama tunaenda chini, right? So we are coming from this, we are multiplying next by this, tunaenda tuki, right? Which is going to be a wrong information. Even if you check this one and double tap or double click, I mean, you'll see that it's 88 times 1.9, somewhere like 1.9. Sorry, not 1.9, 16, I6, sorry. D9 times I6. So that is the wrong thing that we don't want to happen. We want it to maintain that the only multiplication that is being done is by 1.1. So we want to restrict Excel from moving from 1.1 and going to the next box. I mean, relative reference, what Excel is doing here is called relative referencing, so that we are multiplying I by I2. The next one, we are supposed to multiply this one by I3. The next one, you're supposed to multiply price per unit 4 by I4, which is the wrong information. So here is where absolute referencing comes, and you wanna do it this way. Let me first clear whatever it is that I have here and right click, clear contents, and then go back to our formula. So you can go back here. So, or even sometimes people are going to be confused by this thing being here. Let me put it here, hapa juu, 1.1. 1.1. I mean, whatever it is, wherever it is that we place it. So is equaling to so is equaling to this times 1.1 and click enter. So 107. So here is where now we bring in absolute referencing, and you can do a dollar sign and then do another dollar sign. So when we are talking about referencing, we use dollar signs. So to restrict Excel to use that specific cell. So we don't want it to be moving. Like it okay from 1.1, it goes ahead to multiply by I5, sorry. It goes ahead to multiply by I6. That is relative referencing, but you want it to do absolute referencing this time around. So that 98 is multiplied by 1.1 and 105 is going to be multiplied by 1.1. What is the result when you do that? Let me pick somebody here. What is the result? Ross Jemutai. Oh, yesterday you did not speak. Ross Jemutai. So if there's an issue, you can also type in the comment section, in like your response, if you have a problem with your mind. Let's hear from Job. Okay, yeah, Ross. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, somebody is saving you, and that is Job. Job Oma. Job. Yes. Very well. Like, what is your result after when you do a flash fill. So if you fill it or maybe drag this to the bottom. So what is your figure for this IIF6? 71.50. Okay, let me see if so. This is what you have. Okay, everyone confirm if these are your values. Yeah. Anybody having a challenge with what you're doing there? We've done relative referencing and there is absolute referencing. Mhm. This is also maybe the same concept you can even use for those who are uh, working in companies offering discounts to people, right? You may even look at the total value here and say that the sales are 29400, right? Or maybe the price per unit is this, and then there's a new price with a discount. So suppose the discount is 5% discount, right? So you are going to be multiplying your value by 0.95, right? So if it is 98, then you're supposed to multiply here by 0.95. So that the new price after 5% discount, it's there. Or those who are teachers, yeah, students as or maybe so many students, maybe the students in your class have passed really highly, and you don't want them to challenge you that much, and so you are going to do moderating the results. And so if you had a 98, it is I mean all the marks are slashed by a certain value. Yeah. If it's sorry, yeah, somebody was unmuting their microphone. But if it's like maybe there are those people who have even gotten 100%, so you'll multiply by a certain maybe 0.98, right? So that you bring down the marks a little bit. Or multiply for a certain segment. For those who have maybe um, 90s and above, multiply by a certain value. Those who have 60 to 70, multiply. Those who have maybe 20s, actually raise their marks. Yeah. So that if somebody has 20, they're not subjected to a reduction in terms of their marks. I mean, that is absolute referencing that you can play around with. But there are more complex examples for absolute referencing that you also even need to check out. Yes, Tom. Kindly, if somebody is not speaking, just mute your microphone. I'm seeing also ICDL Center, your microphone is on. Yeah, thumbs up if you understand that. Absolute um, and relative referencing. Cool. Something else, there is another one that is called mixed referencing. Now that is part of your assignment. I'll give you a data to go and do mixed, or I'll give you a video to go and watch mixed referencing. So it can be either in form of a question today, or it can be brought in your end of the week assignment. Yep. So let's go back to these names sheet and look at formulas. Now let us introduce ourselves to formulas and delete this. Okay. So we have formulas here. Um, So let's think about maybe we want to sum things in Excel. Yeah. We want to sum even the total amount of the salaries that people have here, or we want to do an average. We want to do a sum if. First, can you highlight maybe all your salaries up to So up to this number 21. And then look at the information that is contained down here. Are you seeing where my cursor is? So there is that some information that is contained there. Average, already may calculate that average of selected cells is 32,703.65. Count is 20. Count is the number of information that has been entered, or maybe the cells that have information within them. It's telling us that it's 20. Some, it is telling us that it is 654,073, right? You can play around with your page layout here and see what is happening. Yeah, I need to clear my Excel and my tabs. So this one, the information that you are looking at down there can really not be helpful as such, because you cannot copy them, and you cannot copy and maybe paste them somewhere. That is where now we are going to use the sum function. We are going to use even the average function that we are seeing here, and even the count function also. We are able to look at. And we've talked about how to enter how to enter a formula in Excel. For example, the things that we are doing there in referencing, all these things that we are looking at here, this is a formula, and you can see, for example, this is our formula bar. Yeah, so formulas needs to start with an equal sign, right? An equal sign has to accompany your. There's an issue that I'm seeing here, and I don't like it, and that should be. I don't know if I'm protecting my worksheet. I don't know why it's protecting my worksheet when I don't need to be protected. And that is too wrong. Kindly check the information that you've entered, then cancel. Okay, if it persists. Okay, now it's okay. Uh, Kindly confirm that you're able to clearly see those, whatever is written in Excel here. If it's small enough, I can increase it in size. Okay, so sum. So maybe you want to do a summation. We may want to find the total amount of money that is paid to these people. So think of it as maybe a HR kind of worksheet. Yeah, so you have employees, you have their gender, you have their salaries, and you want to look at the total amount of money that our company is paying to our employees. So it starts with, so is equal to, right? And click on sum. So if you look at all these things, there are so many formulas here. Sum if, sum product, sum SQ, sum X, blah blah. There are so many, there are thousands of formulas in Excel. So you first write sum. So is equaling to sum, and then what do you do? Put in a bracket. Yeah. So if I want to sum maybe this number, comma, I want to sum this one, comma, I just click, comma, and then click this one, comma. You can see number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. I mean, the numbers that I want to add. And that one. So suppose maybe you just want to add some specific numbers. So you include a comma at the end of every number that you have added, and then click on enter. So if you go to the formula bar, you'll see that we've added F2, F5, F9, F13, 16, 20, and F18. Yeah. Are you able to see that? Answer. If that is, are you able to see that? Okay, Alvin. Uh-huh. Who is having a challenge with that? Because we want to do another kind of summation also. Um, okay. Yeah, so again, maybe you want to do a summation of a range of values, or maybe a range of entries. Still, we are using is equaling to sum. Maybe let me put it a little bit lower so that it doesn't confuse. Is equaling to sum. You can click on tab. So we can just highlight all these up to, we want it to sum up to this point. So you will see that if you want to sum a certain range, you are using full colon, F2 colon, and then F21, up to F21, right? And then click on, close the bracket, sorry. And then we see the result. So if you go back here to this formula section, you'll see that we are summing sum F2, F21. It is 654,073. 654,073. The same value you are finding here, sum of selected cells down there. Sum of selected cells here, right? So that is summation. That is what you wanted to do here. So you can just fill it and say is equaling to sum, and then click on tab, and then say F2 up to F21, and then close the bracket and say that is that. Find the average. Find the average and tell us the value. We want this to be done by everyone, but the person that is going to speak about their answer is Hezron Magare. Tell us your result for average. Find the average of all these salaries, F21, like F2 up to F21. Hezron Magare. Hezron, if you're speaking, your microphone is on mute. So there is a male should be held by a lady. Let's see a lady here. Vintain Potishoi. I believe there is a Vintage Potishoi. What is your result for the average? I think there's a problem with it's either your mic or your connection. So you are breaking. Bethuel Kamau. Yes. Yeah, I sent in the group. Okay. Okay. No problem. Okay. Yeah, it is in the group for those who did not download. Alex Oluoch, what is your result for the average? Yeah, but you're speaking on the background. 32,703. Yeah, so let's get is equaling to average. Sorry, average and just write F2 up to F21. These are simple formulas. So 32, 703. Now we get to sum if. So sum if. So these ones are a little bit straightforward, right? Or even before going to sum if, we may use count. There's this instant maybe where you've seen count is equaling to 8. So if you do a count, we want to count the number of entries that is here, maybe from county down to Nairobi. Let's see the number of entries. Of course, we know it's 21, but let's see a count. So how do you do a count? Yes. So somebody to give us the formula for count. These are hands-on now. Somebody to tell us the formula for us to count maybe the number of entries for county. Alex, you are very far from the mic. You may increase the volume or move a little bit closer to the mic. Sure. Count, and then I write F2 up to F21. So F2 to F21. So we found 20. Yeah. So basically, Excel has taken this as the header, right? Sorry, we wrote F2. Yeah, okay. So we wrote F2. So from F2 here up to F21, we found that there are 20 entries. So how about if we just write count, double click, and then instead of this, we click on so that it becomes FF. You'll get 21. So we've highlighted the whole of this FF. So F up to F basically means all the values that are appearing in this column. So we found it to be 21. So that is 1, 2 up to maybe 21. That is 20, but again plus this one, which is makes it the 21st value, 21, because Excel is picking this one as a header, right? Should be that way. Uh, Anybody finding a challenge? Aiga, Aiga, say something. Count. Okay. So we want to count information that has been entered in maybe for the counties that we have. How many people filled that? Or maybe let's go back to this name. How many people filled this question? Or maybe how many entries are there for this column? And then we do a count. So we write here is equal to count, yeah, and then go to our our column. So you can see that we are using the whole column of B to B. If I write B to B, it basically says like the whole of this column. Within this column, how many information has been entered there? Sorry, I'm using count. Yeah, here. So is equaling to count, and then I'm saying B to B. B to B. B to B basically means that I'm highlighting the whole of that column. Whether I write it in small letters or capital letters, it doesn't really do any harm. So I've written B to, yeah, B to B. So why is it telling us that there is a zero? There's a zero for B to B. So it is telling us that there's a zero because here we are using texts. Let us check if we are using numbers, and then we do a C to C, C to C, and count. You can see that it is 20. So because here we have numbers, but when you get to where there is text, it is telling you that it is zero. Now let's try with counter, and is equaling to counter, and then B to B. It is saying 21. So if I do this with B to B, B to B, B to B. So count has brought 0, count A or counter has brought 21. So what's the difference between the two, count and counter? Let's get from Beverly Nachieng. What is the difference between count and counter? These formulas are going to be really helpful when you are now analyzing your data. Yeah, that is where you have to use the sums, you have to use the sum if, count ifs. I mean, you'll see them in action, but you have to understand what every formula does. For example, sum, you know what it does. Average, you know what it does. I mean, sum if you have not looked at, but you've looked at count and counter. Aching, if you're speaking, your microphone is on mute. This one is a lady's question, and is going to be helped by Fahiza. Fahiza Adam. What is the difference between count and counter? Yeah. Yeah, so let's try counter with the numbers, right? So we say C to C, or even we say B to C. We can say B to C. If you say B to C, you can see that it has highlighted the two columns, column number B, column number C, right? Okay. If you click on enter, you get 42. That is 21 for B and 21 for C. Yeah, I've used B to C, and sometimes maybe you can be confused. Let's use B2. I mean, it's the same thing. B2 to C21. B2 to C21. C21. Yeah. It's similar to what this one is a little bit more specific as compared to what we were using, right? You can see that now we are starting from um, here, B2, then we are going all the way B, we finish with the B's and come to the C's, and finish up at C21. If you click on enter, it is now telling us that it is 40. 40 because name and age has not been counted. That time round, we were selecting everything. We were selecting all this so that it counts name and age. That's why it's now 40. But counter and count, the difference is um, counter counts everything, be numbers, be or even texts. But when it comes to count, it only counts numbers. Are we together? Yes? Angeline, umechoka? Angeline, let's was Angeline, what's up? Were you intending to Unasema umechoka? Okay, yeah. I mean, um, yeah. Job is asking us to repeat. I would want somebody else to repeat for Job. Hmm. So who is going to repeat that? Let's give that to Alvin Kinoti. Alvin, Alvin, if you're speaking, your microphone is on mute. Your mic has a problem. Yeah. Huh. It was Mike. Waidanji Nunga. Are you able to explain? When it comes to explaining to people? Joel Musili. Yeah, go ahead and explain to Job what is happening. Yes. Oh, I can be doing counter. So maybe use a different example from what you are using. E. E is a county. Okay. So that is so enter. If I Yeah, I mean it has done that automatically for you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So job count is only going to count numbers. So you can see here if I count cells that are containing numbers and add do an enter, it will have 20. But if I do the same thing for let it to tell it that it should count for me the number of occupations, some are the number of cells that are having occupations. Let me change it to G. G, and then this one also G. Tell the laptop that you're my G, right? You'll find a zero. So your G is not Ging. So it's telling you that you have a zero. So that is for count. So that is because count only counts numbers. Count does not count text or character or maybe string type. Sorry. Um, I believe you've seen that or you've understood that job. Are we together? Cool. DevOps. Yes. Mm. Date. Yeah. Go to your so the number that you're getting, or maybe that date that you're getting. Just click inside that cell and go to this place number and change it from maybe it is in date, short or long, and change it to general. Is it giving you a number? Okay. Yeah, so that is counter. So that is counter. What are we remaining with? We are having some ifs, some if, count if, and count ifs. Ah, so here's where maybe you are bringing in a condition. For example, sum the salaries if gender is equaling to male. So we want to see what is the total salaries that males are earning, right? So let's say, for example, is equaling to sum if and tab, sum if um, sum if this one gender, or I can highlight from here, or we can just do that D to D. I hope now you understand the D to D and the D2 to D21. I'm being a little bit more specific now, right? Comma. So you can see range. So the range we are using is D2 to D21. What is the criteria? The criteria here is if sorry, I've done an enter. Let's type it up again. So the criteria here is male. So if the gender is male, right? Then count the salary. So criteria, the criteria that we are having again here, sum range is, which range are we summing? We are summing this one, we are summing this one, and so the salaries are there. Sorry, there's something that was distracting me. Yeah. So sum if the gender that we are having is male, sum their salaries, right? Are you able to confirm that the salary is 103 808? Thumbs up if you understand what you're doing. Thumbs down if you are lost. Alvin, understanding. Anybody with a thumbs down? Beverly Achieng, number one. Oidanji, there are some people who are not. Oscar, Oscar, how are you doing? Oscar Kapona, are you following through? Cool. Yeah, so there's one person that is not quite understanding. Beverly, so what you are saying is um, we want to sum the salaries of the male. Yeah, you call them the other gender, right? So we want to sum the salaries for only the male, like wanaume. We want to count the total amount of salary that they do earn, right? So that is hapa I'm seeing male Nairobi 76, and then there's another set of males here that we are also having. Yeah. So we want to add this and then add them with the, because I'm looking at males here, hapa chini. So that is where we do a sum if. So we are bringing in a certain condition. Sum only if the respondent is a male. Yeah. So that is where we are writing. So if you remove this, let's remove this and then say is equaling to sum if, and then highlight the column that contains your gender. So we are highlighting up to this, and then comma. So you've just highlighted the column. You've just highlighted the range that we are first looking at. Then what is the criteria? The criteria here is if the respondent is a male, and then type here and write comma, then you're being asked what is the sum range. Which range are we summing? We can even say that sum their ages, sum the ages of this of the male gender. So we highlight all that range where the age is appearing, and then do a close the bracket and press on enter. You'll find that the total age of those male is 336. Now we wanted maybe the salary, and we can say F2 up to F21. So we go back to 103, 808. Beverly, are we together? Cool. Um, so this is sum if. You look at, we are just having two rules, or maybe two, what do we call them? Conditions, right? It's either we are looking at the gender column, and then we are looking at um, the salary column, right? Basically, two things we are looking at. Now, if we talk about some ifs is just another sum if, but this sum ifs has more conditions, right? So, for example, let us look at the salary of the males, right, that are coming from Machakos, and they are doctors, right? And they are less than 20 years old. Yeah. I mean, are you seeing how complex now it starts getting? That is where some ifs now applies, right? So let's just do two. So let's say is equaling to some ifs, right? Enter. Then sum range. You can see here we are being a sum range criteria range 1, criteria range 2, blah, 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 blah. So we start with the sum range. Are we starting with the sum range? Let's see. Yeah, let's see what this one is saying. So sum range. So we are summing their salary. So what we are doing is summing the salary, right? Comma. Then criteria range number 1. So criteria range number 1 is that um, gender is equaling to, let us look at gender. Gender is equaling to, so let's say gender is equaling to female. Female. Sorry, I don't know what my laptop. Yeah, okay. Gender is equaling to female, comma. It is telling us to go to criteria range number 2. So here we can add ranges up to even 30. I mean, like numerous. But the first thing that you start with, what are we summing? That is the first thing to start with. You can see sum range, then we go to criteria range, criteria. So criteria range number 1, then criteria. Criteria range number 2, then criteria 2. Criteria range number 3, so we started with females. Let's go to another range, or maybe criteria range, which is county. Let's say we want to sum only the females that are coming from Mombasa County, right? Comma, Mombasa. Sorry. So Mombasa County, right? If we have another range, we can say, or maybe you can add it. So for example, maybe in the occupation you wanted only those females coming from Mombasa County and they are nurses. Yeah. So here let's just work with two first. Some ifs, look at their salary, look at if they are females. After that, are those females coming from Mombasa County, and then press enter. Then you see that the total amount of money that ladies from Mombasa are earning is 278,129. Are we together? Are we together? Uh-huh. Somebody who is not with us or has a question around that? Yeah, I'm seeing Jonah Ndakwa is writing for us even a formula for those coming from Masabit only. Some of the salaries of people from Masabit. There is some if, but there is also some ifs. So we also work with some ifs, right? So that is some if, then this one is some ifs. So you can look at that. Yeah. Similarly, we can also even have count if and count ifs. We can also have average if. So for example, find the average salary of males who are aged below 50, right? I mean, you can now play around with those. So go and count if we stop before we stop. Go and count if mm, yeah. Let me write it here. That count the salary or count the number of. I'm trying to think of something. Which value can we have? Count count the number of males who are less than 30 years. Yeah, can you do that count and give us the answer? Yeah. Then when it gets to count ifs, sorry if you are not able to see it, let me just, yeah. So for count if, count the number of males who are aged less than 30 years. For count ifs, count the count all. I'll still use the males. Count all. I'ma count the number of female employees. Trying to make up something. Count the number of female employees whose salary is greater than 30,000. Okay, count the number of female employees aged um, less than 40 years, and their salary is greater than 30,000. Now, shine. So count the number of males who are aged less than 30 years. And I've preferred this 30 for a while now. Let's do maybe whose salary is less than um, 45. Right? Yeah, give us the answer and then we drop by in the next 3 minutes. In the next 3 minutes, let's get the answer. Yeah, okay. Who is going to give us the first answer? The one for counting the number of males who are aged less than 30 years. Let's get from Amos Sumbi. Amos Sumbi, what's your answer for count the number of males who are aged less than 30 years? Amos? Yeah, there are those people who are not speaking. Uh, and one of them is Amos Sumbi. Amos Sumbi, you have not spoken since time immemorial. Okay. Alice Kalunde, what is your value? Anybody who wants to unmute and go ahead and tell us the answer. Uh, just unmute and say the answer that you're getting. Yeah. Yes. The count ifs. Uh-huh. You've gotten six. Anybody else who has gotten six or a different number? Oscar, what is your value? Oscar is getting four. Who else is getting something different? So Oscar is getting four, Alvin is getting six. Uh-huh. What is your value, Fahiza? Jonah is getting four. Fahiza? Oh, Alvin, you've changed to four. Okay. For the first one, count the number of males who are aged less than 30 years. What is the value that you are getting? Who has a value for that? ICDL. What is your value for number of males who are aged less than 30 years? Okay. Yeah, it was sent in I sent it in the group. Wema Odhiambo, what is your value for number of males who are aged less than 30 years? Okay. Winnie Ambogo, There are people who have not spoken today, and one of them is Winnie had spoken. One of them is Paul Victor Dagwa. Okay, people are hiding from the answering the question. Okay, we can leave that for you people to work on, and of course there are other examples that you can have a look at. So that is just introduction to formulas. There are so many formulas that you can use, right? There's absolutely so many formulas that can be used in Excel. We've just done the basics. Tomorrow we may look at something like concatenating, trimming, right, left, length, X lookup, V lookup, H lookup. I mean, there are so many formulas that we are yet to have a look at. We will maintain this. Next week, we'll now use more complex data sets. Not really complex, but in terms of their volume, a little bit voluminous, so that we work on pivot tables and pivot charts, how to do data cleaning and things like that. And so this one, we are going to use it again tomorrow. So if you did not download it, go and download it. Review this video if there's something that you're not understanding. I can drop in some videos for you also to look at referencing, by the way, absolute and relative and mixed referencing. Another thing can be for you to go and check on these formulas, but using different data sets. I mean, that is how people learn. You don't learn by looking at the same thing that you did. You go and look at something different, because there can be different scenarios for you to